All right, good morning. Today is Thursday, the 13th of April, day 64 of our class. We will be taking the hands-on test today. The hands-on test was emailed to you at around 7 o'clock this morning. I'm going to go over the test directions in just a couple minutes. And the completed test repo is due in your GitHub. Repo is due by midnight tonight. Tomorrow will be a lab period. There will be no taping. Yesterday, we also went over, in addition to the pretest, we went over chapter 12 in our Murach JavaScript book. So Monday, we will go over the Murach JavaScript chapters 13 and 14. Tuesday, we will go over the Murach JavaScript 15 and 16, if we can keep up with that schedule. Then on Wednesday, we will go through selected examples as a class, and then let's just see where we are at that time. All right. Your JavaScript chapters, really, again, it's 8 to 10, not 8 to 11, but your JavaScript chapters 8 to 10 written tests, labs, and homework are due this Sunday by midnight. As always, please contact me if you have any questions. So let's look. This is the test. So as mentioned here for this test, we're going to use the same RPS game that we've used for the last two tests. You are to make no changes to pages 1 or 2. Page 3 is where you've got the actual game. Right now, you've got a game.html file and a game.js file. Make copies, please, of both of those. All right, and call them game.jQuery.html and game.jQuery.js and create a working link. All right, to that. That's 5 points. Then rewrite the entire game logic, but rather than using vanilla JavaScript and add event handlers and the alias with a $sign that we had before, remove all that stuff and rewrite it using jQuery. So make sure you've got the $sign document.ready event and make sure you set up code in your click events for each button. That's worth 25 points. All right. Page 4 then is the contact page, the current page 4, and before you make another one, make a copy of contact.html and contact.js. Call them contact.jQuery.html and contact.jQuery.js and create a working link to the contact.jQuery.html file. 5 points. Notice on here, because you're going to do validation in here, this validation, whether it says so or not, this validation is all to be done using jQuery. I'm saying this again. All validation is to be done using jQuery. So there's to be no HTML validation for your form. Remove any existing HTML validation. First name, last name, address, and city fields are required. All right, if you leave them off, use some kind of an error constant, similar to what I did in the pretest. And again, validate these fields, and I'm going to even change this using jQuery in accordance with the requirements above. All right. That's 10 points. The state field, again, is, when I say it's not required, all right, basically it's not validated. It does not have to be validated. It's not a required field. So get rid of the select your state option that we had in there. Again, you don't have to do any validation, but default it to Missouri. That's 5 points. The zip code, email, and phone fields are required. Use placeholders for these 3 fields and have a different associated pattern for the format of each. All right, you can see your book. You can go out to html5pattern.com. I also showed examples yesterday when we went over the pretest. All right, use JavaScript error constants here as well and validate these fields using jQuery in accordance with the requirements that we showed above. All right, after the phone entry and before the submit and reset buttons, add a new entry with a label that says need more. Next to that, add 2 radio buttons with a yes and no option. Below that, add a contact via label and 3 checkboxes, all on the same line, with the possibilities of email, text, and voicemail. If the need more yes radio button is checked, then make the 3 checkboxes available. If they are not checked, make them unavailable. All right. Now, I should add this as well. So see the example for chapter 10 for help, that's fine. If all fields do not validate, stay on page. If all fields do validate, all right, you can provide a success page, very similar like in the pretest. And you can just use the one that's in your book. That's worth 25 points. And finally, when everything is done, validate now your 6 HTML pages and your 1 CSS page. So to show you this real quick, just about finished here. I'm going to call this revised. All right, so to show you what this should look like then, here it is. So the home page does not change. The about page does not change. The game page does not change. You'll notice on my game page, I made, these are buttons. These are image buttons. All right, and here's the game page jQuery. It looks just the same, but it is now using jQuery instead of vanilla JavaScript. All right, and finally, the contact page. This is the original contact page. It has not changed, but now there's a contact JQ page. And you'll notice on there now we've got a need more with a yes and a no. All right, and if the no is selected, I didn't incorporate this logic yet, but if the no is selected, all of these right here, these 3 buttons, okay, they should be empty. For these 3 checkboxes, they should be empty and they should be disabled. If this is chosen, then these should be enabled. But if you go from here to here, remove the checkboxes, any check that you might make in here. See, right now I don't have it implemented. If you click success, see, I've got still my errors and stuff in here. That's no biggie. All right. But if this is successful, so if you put something on each page here, all right, and I don't need anything more and I click submit. Now, right now, mine isn't doing anything else. Just have it go to a new page that's called success.html. Use the one that's in your book. All right, totally fine. And of course, the reset should work as well. That's all that I have. If you have any questions, I will be online today. All right. Literally all day. All right. My afternoon class, we've decided to take a lab today, and the regular lab they'd have tomorrow, I'm going to lecture tomorrow instead. So I will be online all day, but after 4 o'clock, I'll just be checking intermittently, like maybe every 15 minutes or so. Any questions? jpscott@rankin.edu. All right. Then with that said, good luck on Monday of next week. Now, yesterday we went over both. We went over both the pretest and then chapter 12 in our textbook. All right. So we went over chapter 12, in the textbook. Bring that up quickly. Said I'd make this 10 minutes long and really no longer. All right. So we've now gone over chapter 12. On Monday, we'll go over chapter 13, how to work with control structures, exceptions, and regular expressions, and chapter 14, how to work with browser objects, cookies, and web storage. On Tuesday, we'll go over chapter 15, how to work with array sets and maps, and chapter 16 with how to work with objects. we'll see where we are when we get to Wednesday of next week. All right, good luck. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks.